constantly joking around. So even though it is horror, it's the occult, but we try to keep that one lighthearted.
What's going on, everybody? It's Webster Style, the man, the voice of Fergus, and we're here with another wonderful creator of a very interesting anthology series entitled 13th Moon. We're here with Phoebe Xavier. Phoebe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Eldon. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, you see we have a little bit of video technical issues, so we're just going to run through it because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, it's really about the creator and the creative work, and you'll be seeing a lot of that as this interview goes forward. But we want to get an idea of, really what was the inspiration behind 13th Moon. Now, this one is there are two volumes out now, and then you have the third one coming out shortly. What was the inspiration behind the series?
Um, well, we already had a couple of anthology books that we were working on. We had an espionage book going already, Gunmetal Black Ops, and then we have our cyberpunk book, Sidereal Apogee. So we had put out a couple issues in both of those genres. And I just had the idea that I wanted to do a Halloween horror anthology. So I mostly used a Facebook forum that is dedicated to anthologies, comic book anthologies, and I took uh, solicited artists and writers through that. And yeah, so the first two were pretty fun to do. First one was a success on Kickstarter. The second one did not get funded on Kickstarter, but we still finished the book. Actually got a horror writers scholarship from I forget the exact organization, but it's a horror writing organization that they wound up rewarding me like $500 that I used to publish it eventually, since the Kickstarter did not work out. But this time we're doing another Kickstarter, and October 1st to November 1st, and we're trying to launch volume 3 of 13th Moon.
Okay, well, that horror writer award, that was definitely an awesome, you know, while the Kickstarter didn't happen, something else came down the pipe to so that you can realize the other volume. So that's really awesome. It's really amazing. So do you have I guess how should I put it? Do you have a fancy for horror in the horror genre?
I would actually say of all the genres that I write in, I'm not as much a fan as horror as I am of sci-fi. I definitely 9 times out of 10, if I'm going to put a movie on, it's going to be a sci-fi movie or a comedy movie. And then if a horror looks really really good, then I will watch it. I just started watching some movie Bodies, 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 which I guess is like a slasher film on Netflix or something.
Okay.
But it's also a comedy, so I was like more interested in like, oh, okay, horror comedy, I could do that. Um,
Okay.
I have watched some good, horrors this year though. Um, there was one, Latency was really good. That's a sci-fi horror. And then the one, oh, Abigail, is that the one with the little girl? Yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah, yeah, I still have to watch Abigail. I've always loved the horror genre, but I think for me, I love a good vampire flick. And when I saw that came out, I'm like, oh, I have to see it. And I know I believe it's still on Peacock, and I just have to sit down and watch it. Some reason I don't get a chance just to sit down and watch too many movies now unless I force myself to. But that's definitely on my list to watch before it leaves because that looked really cool. And I don't think we really get too many good vampire movies anymore, personally speaking. That's just me.
Not really. No, there are not. That is a niche in the genre that has been overdone so much, and yeah, it's rare that we get a really good one. And but I highly recommend that one.
Okay, yeah. I think Twilight killed vampire movies for a long time.
Yes, agreed.
So with 13th Moon, obviously next week at the time of this recording, actually not next week, at the time of this recording, this Friday is Friday the 13th. And obviously 13 Triskaidekaphobia that has a very long standing sort of trope when it comes to horror and the horror genre, of course, made probably more famous or infamous and famous by the Friday the 13th series. But what prompted you to title the anthology series 13th Moon?
It's actually the number of full moons that happen each year. On average,
Okay.
is 13.025. Yeah. Um, so I was just going off of how many full moons there are in a year, and then yeah, Marika, who is one of the artists I work with, I hired her to do the logo, and that came out awesome. So we've been running with it ever since.
Cool. I did not realize there are 13 full moons every year. That is really that's really cool. Nice little a nugget of information there to take home. Now, with your anthology books, and I know sometimes with some anthologies, there's like a connective tissue or theme that runs through all of the stories. Is that present in the 13th Moon series?
I would say no. I would say that just as long as it's a horror story and I it's something that I've approved, that I've read the pitch and I like it, that it'll go in the book. Um, we call it a Halloween anthology, and that's more about the scheduling, the timing that we release it in October.
Hmm.
And I think out of all three volumes, we had one actual Halloween story, and that was Leanne's story in volume two, Smashing Pumpkin, which was a really fun, quick 6-page story.
Okay, cool. Now you talk about you've done stories and books in other genres. Are there you talked about sci-fi, any specific aspect of sci-fi that you just always want to write in?
Um, well, I really like cyberpunk. I read a lot of cyberpunk. I go out of my way to find cyberpunk cartoons, movies, and books. So as far as specifically in sci-fi, that would be my niche. Um, and yeah, I kind of like hacker stories and assassin stories. The way I titled or advertised Serial Apogee, our cyberpunk book, is it's bad guys versus the worst guys, and the bad guys don't always win. Like that, it's always a rogues gallery, and even the good guys in our stories are like smugglers and assassins and like other slightly shady people in as compared to the average citizen. I think you're still on
I'm
mute.
still on mute. Yes. Understood. So with that, you talked about some of the horror movies. What sort of sci-fi have you been watching,
Um,
if
all right,
anything?
what have I been watching? Oh, that Dark Matters TV show, even though that's like the third time that that's been used for the name of a series. Dark Matter was really good,
Okay.
with the guy who kind of can slip out of to different alternate realities. Um, I think it was about 10 episodes, and I think they got an order for a second series.
Okay.
So that's been really good. Sunny, I've been watching Sunny, and it's takes place in Japan. It's about a uh, an American woman in Japan who her Japanese husband has gone missing with her son,
Hmm.
and he leaves them a robot, and the robot's kind of a little bit misfires a little bit. It's slightly wonky robot, but it really wants to help. The robot's name is Sunny. That one was really good. That was starring Rashida Jones from like The Office and whatever, all
Okay.
the brilliant stuff that she's been. Yeah, um, that was really good. I watched the Acolyte. I'll watch any Star Wars stuff that comes out. I like the lightsaber battles in the Acolyte. I didn't think the story was put together very well.
Okay.
Um, I definitely not one of the haters on the internet that's like that that dislikes all Star Wars stuff because they're making it so PC or woke or whatever. I that isn't what bothers me about a Star Wars show. What bothers me is when the plot sucks.
Right.
They could have
Exactly. Yeah.
16 lesbian Jedi's and I wouldn't care, but if the plot sucks, then I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I would agree. I hadn't watched the Acolyte yet, and I think for me, and it's weird because my just overall TV watching in general has just decreased more so because I feel like I'm always editing video nowadays from interviews and whatnot. But I I just I don't know. I think the last Star Wars series I was watching was Obi-Wan, and I love Star Wars, and I know I haven't even finished that. And that's not even because it wasn't good or I didn't enjoy it. It's just I haven't found time. And I heard about the Acolyte, and And I agree with you that some of my colleagues and I who I record with, we talk about the whole internet keyboard warriors and the whole woke propaganda that they spew. And I was like, if it's just not good, it's not good. And much to you said, it's all about the plot and the story. If the story is not good, I don't care what it is, I'm not going to really enjoy it that much.
Yeah.
But
Um, I really liked Obi-Wan for the young Leia. Young Princess
mhm.
Leia was just so
Yeah,
um
I enjoyed her. I think I'm halfway through the season, if I remember correctly. I know I picked it back up maybe about a month ago or so ago and got distracted while I was watching, so I got to pick it back up. Yeah, I liked the young lady that was playing young lady. I really enjoyed her on screen.
I think they sort of messed up canon because in episode 4, don't they meet for the first time? Like Princess Leia and Obi-Wan.
Right.
But whatever. It was a fun series.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that as well because I think now as I've gotten older, I care less and less about canon, maybe like I did 20 years ago or so. And that's with anything. And now, much going back to the Acolyte, I'm all about just, can you tell a good story? Is it an interesting and engaging story? I don't care about canon anymore. I'm too old to think about, oh, this happened in this book and this happened in this. Like, I'm too old for that now. I just want to watch a good story, a good series, a good movie. Is entertaining, is interesting, and from beginning to end, they just weave craft a really good tale. That's all I care about now. I could care less about canon, personally speaking.
Yeah, that's cool. Also they change it so often, so it's hard to
That
keep
too.
track of.
Yeah, I think with Star Wars is specifically, those of a certain age, we grew up with all the books and everything, and all those authors, comics really did their best to tie everything together. And then when Disney bought it, it's like, up, all that's in the garbage, and we're gonna do what we want
Yep.
to do. And I just
Yeah.
it messed it up there. So it's just like, there's no point in trying to keep up with canon now. Because like me personally, one of the things I loved about the extended universe, being a gamer, playing Knights of the Old Republic for the first time, and that's still just an amazing video game. And that lore being tied into everything, which is really cool. I even read some of and wasn't a big like reading Star Wars books, but I read the book or two that was tied into that game because it was just such an amazing world that they crafted. And then to have all of that chucked out the window, and now they're doing the High Republic stuff. It's like, okay, but all the stuff I knew was gone. So much like you said, everything's changed. So there's no point keeping up with canon anymore.
No, not really. I do not do a lot of gaming, but I do play this thing on my phone now called Star Wars Heroes of the Galaxy, where you like pick up characters and train them and get them more powerful. And I don't know. I've been playing a few months and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I fortunately I don't use my phone for mobile gaming, at least not anymore. Maybe about, was it 2024? Maybe about 14, 15 years ago I did that. I don't know if I don't have to be on my phone, I'm not on it. I just try to get off the screen as much as possible, especially nowadays, because I feel like the phones are designed to just keep you on them.
Yeah, kind of. But I found it entertaining, so I've been playing a little bit.
That's cool. So you have 13th Moon Volume 3 coming out, and that the Kickstarter starts October 1st. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, October 1st to November 1st.
Okay. All right. So it comes out, it gets successfully funded. So when does that book, or would that book hit the street, hypothetically speaking?
Um, by Christmas, most likely.
Okay.
I've been doing all the lettering, and I only have like 4 pages left to letter, I think. And so most of the stories are already done. And okay, maybe I have like 8 pages left to letter, 4 in one story and a couple other ones, but yeah, I'm mostly done. And so yeah, it'll be ready to go to press basically by October 31st. It's a matter of getting the money together. Um, we're actually only raising the money to pay Bayron Calderon, who is the artist on the Lucy and the Doombringer stories.
Okay.
They're another comedy. It's kind of a cute story. She's the daughter of the devil, but she comes to Earth and she plays in a metal band.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it's kind of fun, and it's definitely constantly joking around. So even though it is horror, it's the occult, but we try to keep that one lighthearted.
Got you. Now I have a question though. You're obviously you like comics. You like creating comics. I see that you're not just a writer or letterer. You're also a publisher as well. Where does your love of comics come from?
Oh, when I was very young, I kind of learned to read pretty at a pretty young age, and when I got done with all my Dr. Seuss books and kind of outgrew them, my mother pulled out a box of comic books from the 50s and the 60s. Was like, here's something else. So I basically started reading her Silver Age stuff, which was a lot of Superboy, Supergirl,
Okay.
Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen. They all had their own comics back then, their own
Right.
solo titles. So that was a lot of what she was into. I also got introduced through that initial collection she gave me to like Witching Hour was something back then, and the original Tales from the Crypt books were back then Marvel was putting out.
Mhm.
So yeah, I got introduced to all that stuff when I was like maybe 5 years old.
Oh wow. Well, you got bit by the bug really, really young.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's really cool though. You did not get hooked on the sort of traditional superhero fare, even though you had the sort of Superman tangent books. What was My Girl Lois Lane and Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Like those weren't your typical books. Those actually, if I remember correctly, I think those books were specifically like targeted, especially Lois Lane, like to young girls and to other audiences that were not just into the main Superman titles. And obviously Tales from the Crypt and whatnot. You had to be a special type of person really to be into those books outside of the main superhero film. That's really cool. And I can, imagine how that's even influenced a lot of the books that you champion now that you want to put out under your own publishing company.
Oh yeah, definitely I keep it weird. But also by the time like late 80s to early 90s, I was very into the X-Men. Um, uh, the end of the Claremont run when I was old enough to read that. I definitely got into all that. Uh, there is a superhero, a love for superheroes in my collection as well. But yeah, no, I do like to keep the anthology kind of approach. It gives a lot of people, different artists and writers, an opportunity to shine in an anthology, and they don't necessarily need to know all the characters and all the other stories that happen, as long as they can tell a horror story or a cyberpunk story or whatever. Um, so yeah, I think that medium is pretty fun to write in and work in as an editor and as an organizer or publisher, pulling together collections of other people's work.
Awesome. I love that. I love the creative process. I love just being able to express. I love comics because comics have just been, especially now, used to express so many different ideas, thoughts, um, different moods, settings. And it's interesting enough, the Claremont run, like I got into comics, like I known comics, I read comics as a young child, but I didn't get into comics until X-Men in what 92, I think it was. So it was Extinction Agendas when I got into X-Men, and it took off from there. So I totally understand, especially that Claremont run and later on in the years, and how that really was able to just hook you in as far as a new comic reader. But Phoebe, I'm not going to keep you that much longer. Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your publishing company, and more importantly, if you have it now, if not, we'll put it up by the time this comes out, where they can find 13th Moon Volume 3 so they can support it on Kickstarter.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna be getting you that link for the launch page of the Kickstarter in a few days.
Okay.
Um, but in general, where you can find our books is indieplanet.com/123go. Um, and I think we have about 15 to 16 comic books, and then also my short story collection is up there as well.
Okay.
So that and Indie Planet is a great publishing service, that printing service that they are print to order. So it's not like they're sitting on a ton of copies of any of these books, but if somebody wants to order 10 of them, they can order 10 of our books and they'll print it that day. So yeah, Indie Planet is a great organization that we've been working with for years. And a few of those books are free downloads. Actually, both of the first two 13th Moon volumes. If somebody wants to download a digital version, they can download those. Also, my book Trouble number 1 is up there as a free digital download. And she appears in 13th Moon Volume 3. I have a story, Trouble versus Cthulhu. She
Yeah,
is kind of my reluctant. Yeah, did you see some of those pages?
yes, yeah. I love the art for that. It just looks fun. It looks like something I want to read.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, that is Schwenchen Bunag. He is out of Indonesia, and his actual day job is drawing hentai. So when I get the chance to work with him on some comic books, like he's always got like butts and boobs. Like it definitely comes through in his art. Um,
Got you.
but he's a good artist in general that you can draw an action story, maybe with some bodacious ladies in them. Yeah.
Okay.
So where else you can find me? I guess you can look me up on Instagram. I don't really post on Instagram, but I use it sometimes to look at cute cat videos and see what my friends are posting. I am Phoebe123Go on Instagram. And you can find us on Facebook. I gave you a link to our Facebook. 123Go Publications has a Facebook page where I will be posting links to the Kickstarter and just general projects, anything that anyone on my team is doing.
Okay.
So yeah, those are probably the best places to look us up.
All right. Thank you, Phoebe. Appreciate it. And you guys should have seen all of those links flash across your screen. And by the time this comes out, we'll have that Kickstarter link too, so you've seen that as well. But if you didn't see it, you weren't paying attention, you were just listening, maybe audio version. All of the links are going to be down in the show notes below. And I make sure to put in a link to the free versions that are on 123Go Publishing as well, or Indie Planning, excuse me. So you can guys check that out in anticipation for 13th Moon Volume 3. Phoebe, thank you very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. You guys stay tuned for more. Check out everything Phoebe is putting out. And of course, you're a web style, the man, voice of fragrance. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening ear. Remember, stay safe out there and be blessed. And we'll see you next time.
Well, hello, baby. This is your lovely Misty Stone, and you are watching Webster Style with me.
What anime are you going to be watching?